One day, Nominal summoned all great six sisters to a great architect hall. This time wasn't for a party, or our whoopers would not be allowed into the building with us. It was a confidential meeting. A cold wind filled the vast room. The music from last time was absent, replaced by the murmur of the great six sisters greeting each other. I took a seat on one of the pews at the back and crossed my arms, waiting for the meeting to start and making a small chat with whoever decided to approach me. Greetings, Nerus. How's life treating you? Hello. Everything is well. How about you? Same here. It's good to see you're in high spirits. I was starting to think the war was getting to you. Yes, I have been getting told that lately. I'm sorry. It's just that when there's something bothering you, that sort of thing shows in one way or another. But it's good to see things are looking up for you. What's gotten you so glad? Hmm. Who knows? What do I gain from telling you? Why so secretive all of a sudden? Oh, I get it. Don't tell me. I bet you found yourself a nice partner. Is that it? Finding something or someone to devote yourself other than your duty can do wonders for one's morale, especially in these trying times. Oh my, well look at that. There's Amelia over there. I'll go give her my greetings. Please take care. Who's Amelia? Before I could finish speaking, I got up from my seat and walked away. I sat on one of the pews even farther back in the room. Good Lord, are the people becoming more perceptive or I'm way easier to read than I estimated? It's been more than a year, and I still do not know what to do with these feelings. I wonder if Sats has noticed something. Will he say anything if he noticed? In time the noise decreased, and all one could hear were the whispers of Curtis' great sisters, wondering what it could be that the leader wanted to announce. Soon after, the stage lights turned on, all of them converging on a single lectern in the center. Good Lord, how the people become more perceptive, or I'm way easier to read than I estimated. It's been more than a year, I still do not know what to do with these feelings. I wonder if Sets has noticed something. Will he say anything if he noticed? And kind of noise decreased, and all one could hear were the whispers of curious great sisters, wondering what it could be that the leader wanted to announce. Soon after, the stage lights turned on, all of them converging on a single lectern at the center. One last light illuminated the right end of the stage from where Domino emerged. The light followed him as he dragged his feet toward the lectern. The hall was in absolute, expectant silence, except for the occasional echo of Domino's footsteps, until he finally reached it. Testing. And he talked into the microphone after tapping it once or twice. We'll keep it brief. Aeons want us to engage in battle against angels. Same plan as last time, but different objective. The murmur was reignited, but no one dared raise their voice and question Domino directly, except waiting for him to finish. The goal this time is to vessel. Allow the right Aeon to enter here. But to bring him, we must fight. Still great Sister stood up and raised his hand. Domino's head turned to his general direction, but no words came out of him. The other six shifted in place, eyes open wide and mouth agape until he guessed he was allowed to speak. Do you mean to allow the Aeon directly to just roll through one of us? Correct. Anyway, that's all. I will decide and mail you the details later. And as soon as he finished speaking, Domino's form broke down. The countless overlapping stripes came loose until they unraveled into colorful ribbons that floated down and behind the lectern. Some of the louder great say-sitters jumped up and rushed to the stage. They looked behind the lectern and surroundings for a trace of nominal. You can't say that and just leave. What second did they tell you, nominal? Explain yourself. The rest either stayed in their seats discussing the development or got up to leave. I was in the third group. I am as curious as everyone else. Now an aeon inside here could change the way we operate on a fundamental level. But there is no point in conjecture. I will wait until Nominal is ready to reveal more. Oh, back already? Nominal is fond of making a big show about having us gather here, but he's just as concise in person as he is in his letters. A waste of time, if you ask me. Shall we go back? So fast, not even in the mood to hang out around here? Not now, today I'm supposed to glue my fur. It usually takes an hour or two, so I'd like to get over quickly. Alright. You have been getting awfully fluffy as of late. Follow me. I grab the usual tree. In any case, Sax. It is the first time I asked this of you, but would you like to help me with my grooming today? Or, if that's what you want, sure. I raised an eyebrow at Sax. He had turned all sides. He even seemed to shrink in size further. I wonder if that was my imagination or unconscious response to his. Sax, do you feel embarrassed at the prospect of new bodies? No, say-sitters don't care about that kind of thing. He looked up at me, trying to pull out a reassuring expression. I can help. I see. Let's go to my dormitory then. I walked into the house. Sax, who was now visiting with his tablet, walked after me. The contrast between Nerus' composed demeanor and my Nerus self was stark. Previously, I had considered offering him help with his grooming as an excuse to spend more time with him, but decided against it because, well, to be blunt, I found him attractive. I wasn't sure how I would react if I was to not only see him nude, but touch him all over as well. I suppose my fears weren't misplaced, but now that he was the one that had asked me to help him, I found it hard to refuse. Hey, so where's the brush you used for this? In that drawer over there. Alright. Here it is. Brush in hand, I turned to look at the great say-sitter. He already was unbuttoning his jacket. I waited, looking at him expectantly, and clenched the brush tight against my chest. He shot me a look, one eye raised. Sax, if you're uncomfortable, I can groom myself or call several to help me instead. Huh? No, I can do this. I'm sorry, Settles, but there's absolutely no way I'm letting you help him with this ever again. Oh, you shouldn't. Oh, don't treat me like I'm a scared kitten. I won't have it. Very well, then. He said with a definitive tone and took off his suit jacket, and then proceeded to take off the red shirt beneath and lower his hands to his pants. He stopped for a second and seemed to decide against taking them off. I can't say I saw as much muscle as I expected, although not because there wasn't any, but because it was over under layer upon layer of white fur. It was very warm and possessed a nice aroma, like fresh ashes. It would have been pleasant if I hadn't had hours of work ahead of me at the time. What caught my attention, however, was what I saw at the center of his chest. I couldn't describe it as anything other than bones sticking out of his chest, sticking out of his flesh, with something like veins occasionally glowing through it with pulses of red light. Do not mind this. It's just a form my heart takes. Sorry, it just drew my attention. Not the most exotic feature I've seen in a say-sitter. I'll be lying down now. It's over my back. I kneeled down by Nerus' side, looking over his wide back. My heart jumped at the sight. My mind flew to all sorts of improper places, but I tried to focus on the task at hand. I started by stroking the mane around his nape, but the brush soon got stuck entangling countless strands of fur. Just pull until it goes through. Trust me, it doesn't hurt. I did as he said. It took some fight, and I needed to place my free hand on his back to support myself, but I managed to get the brush untangled. When I raised it again, however, it had so much fur stuck on it that it looked more like a cotton candy stick. That's how it's done. Just pull the excess fur out and throw it to the floor. Phew, 1 second. I put the little tool aside briefly to take off my gloves, hat, and tabard. Better get ready. It's going to take a while. About an hour later, I was still going at it with the brush. Nerus had closed his eyes and was making pleased growls every once in a while. The mountain of fur beside the bed was growing gigantic. Okay, I'm done with this side, Nerus. I told him once I finished grilling the back of his legs. The great six-shifter grunted before turning over, exposing his barrel to me. I continued working with my eyes looking up as to not get distracted. Nerus' body had a very consistent contour all around. Although not nearly as much as his fur, his muscles were pretty soft as well, especially now that he was so relaxed. But one could still feel the sturdiness underneath it all. They must be hard as a rock when he uses them, though. With how easily he handled me when we first danced, it would be so simple for him to just grab me in. Now, Sats, it isn't time to be thinking about that. Now I should make some conversation to keep my mind occupied. So Nerus, what did you discuss at the meeting? The great six-shifter blinked at the question. I don't know if he was so relaxed that he needed extra moment to process the question, if he had reservations about telling me. But soon he started talking, pretty nonchalantly at that. Are you aware of the Battle of Aeon Sax? Do you know what transpired there? I've heard that name before, but no. Where to start? Nerus closed his eyes and hummed. It began with a meeting much like the one we had today. However, the plan was different. Do you know angels don't reproduce sex? Oh, why not? He clicked his tongue, his entire body relaxing as he allowed himself to dive into memories 200 years ago. Although slow, his words carried conviction as he explained. Angels are not like us. They see each other like a large family. They often do not feel physical attraction to each other. You might be aware of this, but incestuous relationships between mortals often result in undesirable offspring. Bigger chances of unfavorable genes being passed down and whatnot. The angels have witnessed cases like this, so that is another factor. So what you're getting at is that angels have limited numbers, yes? Although they are backed up by the archons, but still, correct. However, like us, they can regenerate their bodies, making it impossible for us to truly reduce their numbers. But not for an aeon, indeed. I figured out where this story was going, but I let Nerus talk as I continued growing his fur. The objective of the Battle of the Aeon was to completely cripple the angels by reducing their numbers. For this purpose, the state set to hijack one of the angels' portal facilities so that Nominal could open the breach to avoid it in between. The plan is to see if the breach was open, the Aeon attacked from there, and many angels made their final demise. But at some point, a failsafe set up by the angels was triggered, destroying the facility and forcing the breach to close. This is what happened as far as Nerus was aware. But something about the story piqued my curiosity. I have to admit, I'm impressed at how much you know about the angels. Are these things Nominal knew and told the Great Sisters about? Not exactly. Nerus opened his eyes, but they had a distant look on them. Nominal knows they do not produce. Nominal knows they do not reproduce, but he never bothered to explain to us why. How do you know, then? His eyelids closed again, this time out of a palpable hesitance. The Great Sister suddenly looked at me. Something else happened before the Battle of the Aeon. Oh? At this point, I had stopped struggling for fur, without realizing my eyes fixated on his. Haven't told anyone else this. I would appreciate it if you didn't mention it to others. I met an angel once. I tilted my head and dragged my tail across the mattress behind me. What do you mean? I got to talk with one, like civilized people. Really? How did that happen? It was shortly before the Battle of Aeon. Nono asked me to scout the outskirts of the city we'd be attacking. I'm not the most stealthy of safe-sitters, but I could still disguise myself, and even if I got caught, I could fight my way out. By the way, keep pressing. Oh, I'm sorry. Nerus grinned and patted my head before resuming his story. It was a cold morning. White clouds covered most of the sky, while orange tinted permeated the top of the fruit trees and buildings nearby. A somewhat humid and pleasant breeze occasionally passed by, always accompanied by whistling. I was walking over the wet grass to the side of the road towards the city. There hadn't been any safe-sitter activity in this planet for at least 2,000 years by now. We weren't expecting any angel presence at the city's outskirts. Still, it didn't hurt to check. Next to me was a pasture, enclosed by fences made out of iron wires going through rows of thick sticks. A group of spotted quadrupedal animals was eating the grass. Meanwhile, the animals had caught each other's attention. He had risen his head and was staring at me. He cleared his throat. That was when I heard steps behind me. I turned around and there he was, an angel. Were you surprised? I bet. I saluted him. He didn't say anything back and kept staring at me. I excused myself and went on my way, but I soon realized he was following me. Oh, he probably suspected you. Were you in disguise at the time? Now that I thought about it, I hadn't seen Nerus safe-sitting at all yet. A situation where he needed to hadn't presented itself in the past year, but sometimes safe-sitters talented at transformations would change forms only to show off. Nerus either wasn't very interested in safe-sitting or didn't have many forms to show off. Of course, people in that planet must have been pretty tall. Actually, I'll get to it later. Move on. I am certain he did suspect me by the time I decided to not be rash. I sat against a tree to see what he would do. He remained still for a while, and then he started circling around me, sometimes stepping a bit closer. I saw him glance every time. I saw him glance every once in a while, but ignored him otherwise. Then how can I say it? There's his throat rumbled. He came up to me. He placed a hand on my shoulder and said I was very big for a mortal. I would think he saw through your disguise. He did, but he didn't seem hostile. So I played along. I pretended to be a mortal and talked to him for a while. He then said if I humored him and came back there next week, he wouldn't tell the others about me. Something about not wanting to sell the goods. I already figured out the answer, so I decided to ask anyway. And did you? Yes. He was a very strange fellow, this angel. Sometimes while we were talking, he would try to sit on my shoulder and hang from it. Or he would try to sniff me and play with my hand whenever I stopped him. It was somewhat endearing when he didn't try to bite. He closed his eyes and his mouth curled into some sort of grimace as if it made this jeopardize his pride. It still sounds like it. Nerus had talked about this as if it had only happened before the battle of the Aeon. It wasn't hard to imagine the angel he met had perished permanently or that the ongoing conflict had soured their relationship. It was a good moment to change the topic. So, to get back on topic, what are we having a second battle for? The Great Safe Center Once again let out a hum as he gathered his thoughts. Domino wants to bow the angels so we can bring the Aeon in again, except this time he wants to use a flesh vessel, to allow it to stay. Oh wow, that's a pretty big deal, huh? If it works, it might finally put an end to this entire thing. What will happen to us if that goes as planned and everything ends? We will return to where we belong, I imagine. A grim silence fell between the two of us. For a while, the only thing that could be heard in the room was the sound of fur being brushed. I don't expect you to agree. It would feel unfair for things to just end right now. Most state-sitters want to be released already, but I have barely had time to live my life, let alone happily. Nerus' usual wit returned his gaze. Don't be upset, Sats. I doubt it would be that easy and quick. If that was the case, then Domino would have carried out this plan a long time ago. Something must have changed for him to want to do this, or will change. But he hasn't told us yet. Do you think so? Even if it does happen soon, you are not wrong. I cannot imagine it being anything but unfair from your perspective. That's why I promise you I'll help you make as many happy memories as you want before it happens. You deserve that much. Sax, it's just... You can't be such a softy, Nerus. Hey, I can't push your arm like this. Come on, move it. Nerus gave me a puzzled look, unsure how to gauge my reaction, but he did stiffen his arm for me. You know, it's strange. What is? These weird promises you keep making, they are always the things I want to hear. Sometimes it feels like you have known me my entire life. Nerus raised an eyebrow, probably over me calling his promises weird, but not saying anything. How long has it been since I arrived here already? More than a year and a half perhaps. That's not that long. Well, I do consider myself a simple guy, and maybe I'm just easy to get to know. That you are less. Come on, at least deny it. Can't help the truth. You always wear your heart on your sleeve. It makes you easy to read. Oh, you're so mean. But you know what? The way you always put up with my nonsense always try to make me happy. And then that's why I love you, Nerus. Did you let that slip? I'm not that clumsy. I said it on purpose because I mean it. I love you. I repeated it with a wide smile on my face. Oh. My son confessed and left Nerus frozen in place. Even after I finished brushing his arm, he wouldn't move. I was starting to worry I had done something bad. Nerus? As soon as I spoke, the great state-sitter sat up and placed his hands on my shoulders. He surprised me and made me jump a little. There was a fierce, determined look in his eyes that made them look more like wings of fire burning in the dark. Sax. Yes? I have something important to tell you later. Later? Yes, I want to say it on a special occasion. So, about making memories. Is there anything in particular you would like to do? Just answer, please. You know, there is one place where I once traveled to during a family vacation that I really liked. Enough to go back there on my own a couple of times, but I haven't visited for years now. That is somewhat unexpected. I know, right? So, there is this one city by the sea. It's a huge, but it got a nice beach and the stars look wonderful at night. When you talked about making memories together, that place was the first thing that came to mind. Sounds good. I will make some space in my schedule for it. And we will go there. If it seems appropriate, I will tell you that. Understood? Yes. Nerus cleared his throat. Would you like a massage after this? I can't imagine you'd be anything but sore after you are done. Sounds like a fair trade. That way, You get to touch me all over, too. Anyway, let go of me and lift up your other arm. I'm not done yet. Alright. And Nerus, I'll be looking forward to what you want to tell me. I nodded, that fiery determination still in his eyes. 2 days later, Nerus and I met by the entrance at noon to set off to our one-day vacation. I was surprised to see he had arranged it to happen so soon. Not that I was complaining. Is it really okay for you to take a day off on such short notice? It will be alright. It means I will have extra work tomorrow, but I do not mind. I see. Well then, one last thing before we go. I can pass as a tourist just fine in that place, but we will need to do something about your eyes, Nerus. You got too many, and they just look too scary for mortals to handle. True, everyone knows I'm gonna say shit the right way. But fret not, I have a form for these occasions. Let's see it. Nerus' body began undergoing a small transformation. The position of his ears changed slightly. One of our eyes disappeared. His fur gained a few darker spots that became thicker all around as well. It didn't look that different from his usual appearance, but it did give him a much familiar aura. What do you think? You kind of look like you're wearing a fake mustache. Oh, but you still look good as ever, yes. I just found that detail funny. It should be good enough for you to pass as a mortal, too. Very well. All ready to depart, then? Yes, I'm already packed everything we'll need. Let's go. He took a glove off and he took my hand. We teleported into the middle of a forest. One could hear the birds chirping in the distance and rustle the leaves of the ocean wind. The salty smell of the sea was faint, but it definitely was there as well. Nerus almost fell when he appeared, having landed on an even spot, but he managed to regain his balance. You okay? Well, landing outside, yes. Alright, this way the beach isn't very far. Do watch the step. It's been so long since I last came to one of these. Really? When was the last time you took a vacation, Nerus? A vacation? I've never taken one, I believe. Let's make this fun then. We can enjoy the beach and then visit the town if you want. Sounds good. Let's look for a good spot to sit down. We walked down the beach for a few minutes, holding hands the entire time. Nerus was trying to look immutable as always, but I would catch him smiling at me, where I had to see it every once in a while. Soon we found a nice spot without many other people around, so we decided to settle there. There wasn't a huge influx of tourists at the time of year, so it was mostly locals or fishermen at the beach. I took off my backpack, opened it, and grabbed a red gingham from inside. Nerus helped me spread it, and we sat on it. Do you want a drink, Nerus? I offered him one of the canned drinks we had brought with us. I was already treating myself to one of them. I will drink later. More importantly, this is a nice place. It feels very peaceful. Yes, I kind of wish we could have lived somewhere like this with my family, but they always prefer big, polluted cities instead. Because of work, but still. I like it there, being people around, but when you put so many mortals in a single small place, it becomes rather chaotic. And I imagine the mansion is a bit too desolate and dark for your tastes. It goes beyond being peaceful right into creepy territory, yes. Why did you move there, Nerus, if you don't mind me asking? It is because of a silly reason. Well, let's hear it. I moved there because of those white flowers. Since there are one in some of my oldest memories, I think of them as precious. But they were delicate. Even a bit of light is enough to kill them. So you moved somewhere you could raise them? Well, that's pretty romantic. Do you think so? Yes. I guess I can abandon all hope and convince you to move to somewhere brighter then. We will see. I'm kinda jealous. I don't have any hobby or interesting backstory like that. Surely you had something you like to do back home. I guess I had a taste for drawing with crayons when I was a baby. I'm playing fighting games, but they aren't available anymore. Now that sounds interesting. Does that mean you know how to fight? What? No, not that kind of fighting. Geez, you really like throwing hands, huh? Only recreationally, believe it or not. Do you like boxing, for instance? I prefer wrestling. Like the souls and such? Souls. I suppose you wouldn't know about those. The great sage sitter looked to the side, put up a sour face as I giggled. It was so adorable how he'd get confused about mortal customs despite his age. But this wasn't the sort of thing he would know by living locked up in that house. I tried my best to explain to him the kind of wrestling shows some moral communities seem to enjoy. Even after I finished, he was still raising an eyebrow, a somewhat bewildered expression on his face. Those sound entertaining, but they are a spectacle. When I'm fighting, I prefer something more authentic like oil or new wrestling. I recall trying to keep my drink from exploding out of my mouth. I raised my head to take one big gulp and put the can down for the time being. I see. Nerus fighting like that must be quite a spectacle too. Sax, do you get dirty thoughts? Huh? I can see in your eyes. Unacceptable. There's nothing sensual about wrestling or any form of fighting for that matter, Sax. Fighting is a means to nourish one's manliness, as well as to hone one's own skills and obtain power. Although sooner than I expected, I picked my can up and sipped it from time to time as I heard Nerus rant about his love for fighting, giving him a nod or a blink every once in a while. He went on and on about manliness and humbleness and integrity. He seemed passionate about it. I even started feeling like I wanted to punch someone myself. For him, fighting wasn't about showing off physical strength or subduing an opponent, but about testing his ideals on masculinity. I would lie if I say outside the correlation, but it sounded interesting nevertheless. Besides, it was the first time I had seen him rant about a topic like this. I miss fighting. Sure, there are people out there who would like to fight you, Nerus. No one's willing outside of other ways centers, but they don't see my pass for it. I'm afraid I have become very rusty because of that too. I won't challenge you, but with the way our first test went, I think it's obvious I couldn't put much for a fight. Such a shame. I'm certain you would be a worthy opponent if not for your height. You do have a fighting spirit, if you ask me. What makes you say that? You're somewhat timid, I believe, but your eyes tell me something different. There's an unrelenting quality to them. Oh? Did I have a fighting spirit because of the way my eyes look? They are the windows to the soul, after all, or so Naruto says. Some mortals say things like that too. You probably heard it from them once and liked the sound of it. But I guess he isn't wrong. What makes you say that? I suppose I was fighting in my own way before moving in with you. Indeed. Sad to have an inquiry. I must admit the concept of wrestling shows you describe baffles me. What's enjoyable about a fake fight? Oh, it is about the fight itself, I guess. Most mortals have it well, so they enjoy all kinds of entertainment. Wrestling shows are staged, but as long as they brighten someone's day or make them feel something, they are good enough. I suppose so. In that way, they are like books then. Yeah, let's say that. Do you ever think about how mortals and shapeshifters often end up using the same things as a distraction? You mean things such as books? Correct. I think everyone has gasped in their hearts that a good story can fail. There are adventures we want to go on and a feeling we crave. That we even have such needs makes me question if we really are as unaffected by matter as Naruto says. I'm not sure it's only about the corruption. What about detective stories, for example? The main draw in those is deducing the criminal before the end. Or intellectual challenges a thing of the soul. Even if the puzzle itself is just a fabrication, Nerus crosses his arms. Maybe there is a risk to protect one's community or get revenge involved. But it's not your own tragedy. You don't need to have been the victim of a quality to enjoy mysteries. Seeing the great sister's face grow, she was made an idea pop up in my mind. What about love stories? What does love have to do with matter? Huh? He swung his eyes away and fixed his suit. Well, since matter makes for finite lives, mortals and beasts alike. Hold on 1 second. So in your opinion, the end goal for love is creating offspring? I closed my eyes and gave him a huge smile. I wasn't expecting you to be that kind of a person, but I'm not opposed. I'll make sure to keep that in mind. Nerus closed his eyes as the inside his ears gained a bright pink coloration. I wasn't able to contain my giggling. It was a bit mean of me considering his circumstances, but he just looked so adorable while flustered, especially considering how seriously he usually acted. Oh, I'm sorry, Nerus. Just made it so easy. I was not expecting it at all. I was not expecting it, is all. But I am glad you are comfortable enough around me to be so playful, and that you are having a good time. To be honest, I was worried I would bore you. Not at all. It's fun spending time together. Besides, I looked down, feeling a bit deflated all of a sudden, and I saw the hand I was holding that can was trembling. I had and pushed it onto my lap. I focused on the great stations again. So Nerus, what do you say we go see the town now? Of course, I would like to see it before sunset. Let's back up. I wanted to show Nerus around the city, but it almost felt as if I was doing the opposite. Great Theater looked like a mortal, but its height still attracted a lot of eyes towards us. I don't think anyone realized the truth, but it still made me a bit uncomfortable. It's what they call a port city, yes. People here make a living by catching fish and selling it to nearby towns. This reminds me, we should check out the local restaurants. The dishes they serve are excellent. By the time we got out of the restaurant, the sun was already setting, and most of the shops in town were preparing to close. We walked around some more, visited a few landmarks and souvenir stands, but we're running out of places to go. Where to next? Do you want to go to the stargazing spot? I doubt we will find anything open unless you want to go to a tavern. You did miss the stars look wonderful from here. Of course then, lead the way. We made our way out of the city and walked in the direction to the forest over the cliffs by the sea. As we were climbing a slope, I heard Nerus grunt and sometimes yelp behind. Is everything okay back there? Yes, as I keep bumping my head against branches. Ouch. Oh, hang on, we're almost there. Rays of moonlight welcomed us to advanced clearing, adoring my blue flowers. To me, it seemed like a moment whipped straight out of a fairy tale. The thin blue light gave the place a fantastical feeling. Is this the place? Yes. Pretty, huh? Indeed, this is a sort of sight you only get to see in the wild, although I suppose it must be more common in woods that aren't that technologically developed such as this one. But even then, it is remarkable. How do you find this? I better let go sleep this night, Hey, let's lie down over there. Nerus nodded and followed me. I let my backpack slide off my shoulders and threw myself to the ground. The sensation of the grass on my feathers and scales brought back a lot of good memories from the times I had decided to retreat into this little corner. All the nights I spent here, just listening to the sounds of the forest or trying to find shapes among the stars came back to me in an instant. Ah, good memories. Her grass being stepped on while Nerus looked for a good place to lie down. He finally lied down the opposite direction from me, so our heads would be next to each other. Now, this is a nice view. I sort of wish the stars could be seen from the mansion. Now that you mention it, why is it that they are not visible when it's always so dark there? It's the same reason there's no sunlight. The atmosphere in that world doesn't allow any light to break in. Oh geez, considering how little you go out, this is the first time you've seen the stars in a long time, huh? Indeed, they are even more gorgeous than I remember. Sometimes it is hard to believe they are mere imitations. So, did you used to come here just to watch the stars? No, not really. Sometimes I would bring a tent with me, make a small campfire and eat, and either watch videos, play some games, or just read. Oh, and I would bring the stuff to cook, of course. Or hunt if it didn't have it. If it didn't have any, there are lots of small animals in these forests if you come during the day. But this became my little refuge for when things got rough back at home. I see. It's too bad I don't have a tent big enough to fit you in it. We can get one for next time you want to come here. Spend a night campsite sounds like it could be fun. We could snuggle up in the tent and we'll butt together after a campfire cooked meal. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now I am regretting not preparing for this more thoroughly. It's fine. But now, just being out here with you makes me happy. I placed my hand on the side of his face and started caressing it. Nerus let out a pleased grunt in response. After watching the stars for a few minutes, my hand still on Nerus' face, I felt a great shifter move from the spot. Its upside-down silhouette appeared in my field of view. I could tell from the forced scarlet arises that he had returned to his usual appearance. Sax high. Realizing it was going to be too awkward to hold a conversation like this, he backed off and shifted some until he was laying on his side next to me. I moved the mirror in his position. Okay there? Okay, geez, how did I say this? I blinked at his sudden awkwardness, but waited as he collected his thoughts. It was that same lack of experience that had sown its head when I teased him at the beach. How come I am so bad with words when it comes to things like this? You can do it, Nerus. I believe in you. Right, so, Actually, allow me to. He gave up on using only words to try to communicate what he was feeling. He put his arm around me and pulled me closer to him, squeezing me tight against his chest. Nerus then rolled onto his back and sat up, prompting me to do the same, on his lap. It was an intimate enough position that I could feel the blood rushing to my face and other parts, but he continued speaking, either not noticing or not caring. As I was saying, Nerus looked straight down at me. I love you too, Sax. He had such an expressive way to say it. I love you, Nerus. Am I doing this right? Just do what feels right to you, Nerus. He let out a amused sigh. I wonder if you could handle me if I did just that. What is that supposed to mean? Are you certain you want to find out? I might get rough. My heart was nearly hammering out of my chest. Why don't you give me a taste? Nerus propped me higher so he could bring his fangs to my neck. And like that day, more than a year ago at the party, it sent a jolt of electricity traveling down my spine. I tried to keep my cool and give him a snarky retort. Well, it's like underneath that gentlemanly side. What? Nerus grabbed me by the neck, by the back of my head, and pulled me close to his face. He could have done that right then, but stopped at the last second, his eyes scanning for something. After a moment, I nodded, and then he proceeded. We opened our mouths and interlocked in a kiss. The only way I could describe it was overwhelming. I could feel as the great sea sisters' hands made their way under my tabard and through my shirt, caressing my naked back beneath. He wasn't forceful with his tongue, but when it came to using it, he was much more confident in me. Compared to before, he had turned the tables on me. It felt as if he was pouring years' worth of bottled up affection in me. It made my entire body feel hot and my heart beat like crazy. His love overwhelmed me. It surrounded me from all sides. By the time Nerus broke the kiss, it had become a panty mess, and I couldn't help but let my body collapse on his chest. Oh, jeez. I wouldn't mind getting used to this. Let me take a good look at your face. Before I could say anything, Nerus shoved his entire thumb into my mouth, pinning my tongue in place. He nudged me away just enough to look at me in the eyes, with that judging gaze he would always wear when gazing something. You seem to be enjoying yourself. I tried to laugh, but it just wouldn't come out. Not because his thumb was in the way, but rather I couldn't get it to come out. A pleasant dizziness was settling down in my mouth. I imagined my expression reflected that, just for Nerus' smug smile. What a good boy you are, Sax. We removed the thumb from my mouth. A small string of saliva remained hanging from it. Thank you. I felt the heat rising in my face again. I had underestimated how submissive I could get. That night, Bill visited. I noticed you became tense when I stopped you from leaving, but it did not strike me as fear. I guess now I know why. As I said, just do what feels right for you. Although I really would like to rest now. Let me just. Ness would kind of allow me to lie on him as he patted my back. I soon started feeling a bit dizzy from both all the affection and kissing from earlier, so I suggested we call it a night and went back. Good idea. I would hate to have to interrupt your sleep so you can take us back later. Also, how can I put this? You want to spend the night at my dormitory, imagine. Can I? I sleep nude. If you do not mind, that you are free to join me. Oh, I have always seen you with just your pants. And, that doesn't leave much imagination. If that's what you think. After this, we're boyfriends. Am I right? Of course, dummy. I giggled and scratched his chin. Nerus closed his eyes and held me tighter. We remained like that a bit longer before getting up. Is it just me, or is there still a salty smell in the air? Sax inspected his clothes as well, the soles of his feet. There was a considerable amount of sand sticking to him. I did the same. I tried to wipe the sand off my suit, but it was determined to not come off. All I managed to do was to get some of it to stick to my hands. Let's make sure to clean our feet on the carpet. We don't want to make a mess of saddles. I grunted in annoyance. Of course, perhaps I should take a bath before bed. If you want to sleep with me, you will need to wash yourself as well. I do not want sand to get under my blanket. Fair enough. Zack started walking toward the house by then, moving in, staring at his back. Nerus, are you coming? Oh, yes. So we got to learn more about the angels. So apparently there's some hostility between the angels and shapeshifters. And Nerus said there was the first battle of the Aeon. And the goal was to reduce the angels' numbers. So Nominal did that by I think it was some type of facility the angels use to regenerate their bodies, I believe. I think that's what it is. And Nominal hijacked it, and he created a void in which the aeons that the Safe Sisters are allied with, the aeons came in there through the void, managed to get to the angels, and they managed to kill all the angels. Well, get rid of all the angels anyway. So it worked. They were able to kill the angels. Well, I don't know how many of them were killed, but I think a lot of them were killed. So apparently there's some kind of device that the angels had in case something like this happens. So this device blew the entire place up. So that prevented the Safe Sisters, the Aeons, from being able to kill more angels. So Nominal wants to do it all over again. Or this time he wants a flesh vessel. I don't know what flesh vessel is, but apparently it's something that prevents what happened the last time from, I guess it prevents the place from getting destroyed or something like that, but I don't know. But basically Nominal wants a flesh vessel, and somehow that will prevent what happened last time from happening, and the Aeons will be able to go in again and kill the angels, and there'll be no way that angels can stop it from happening like they were able to do last time. And once this becomes successful, once Nominal and the Safe Sisters and the Aeons achieve their goal, everything will end for the Safe Sisters. So I guess what happens after that is that all the Safe Sisters will, Nerus said that once the whole thing is over, Safe Sisters will return to where they belong. And Sat's got very somber about that. So I guess what Nerus meant was that all Safe Sisters will cease to exist. I guess that's what he meant. And afterwards, Nerus told Sats he wanted to make as many good memories as possible. So I guess that's what he meant, like they will no longer exist. So it looks like another battle is about to happen. And the relationship between Nerus and Sats has grown very much, so much that it's very strong now. The relationship is much stronger, and because they reveal more of their feelings to each other, to the point they are now boyfriends. And Sax is not really, he really likes to speak what's on his mind. And he displayed that again in this video when he flat out tells Madness that he loves him. And Madness, Nerus told Sax if he let that slip. And Sax said no, he didn't let it slip. That he meant for real, that he loved him. So it's like when Sax is ready to reveal something, he just tells somebody. He doesn't hide. He just tells somebody how he feels. And that's what he really felt about Nerus, that he loved him. And that's when he finally told Nerus that he loved him. And at the beach, in the forest, that's when they became very affectionate with one another. they kiss each other, and Nerus especially took the lead. He expressed his love to Sax and then finally told Sax that he loved him. So this is the part of the prologue that we enjoy the most. They were going to the beach and going to a nice open in the forest and enjoying themselves one day, and then their feelings being known to each other and them being affectionate and becoming boyfriends. This is really my favorite part of the prologue. So I believe, there should be one more video to make, and then we'll be done with the prologue. Because I already played this game on my own time for about a couple of years now, so I know everything that's going to happen. So there will be one more video of this, and then we'll be done with the prologue, and then we'll move on to chapter 1. So all the information for the game is in the description box below. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.